Since the Nether got such a cool rework, most of us are desperately waiting for an end update, me included. So I decided to take it into my own hands, and I might not work for Mojang and I might not be able to code, but I can build. Okay, let's start with the plan for today's video. I want to start with adjusting the end biomes, making the terrain a bit better, and then I'm gonna build 3 different biomes that I would love to see in the end. So biome number 1 is gonna be crystal rivers. That is actually something I had a dream of a very, very long time ago, and it really gives me the vibe that the end gives me, so I thought that would be perfect for an end update. And then we have the mirrored mycelium. That is gonna be an upside down biome, because I think for the end, it's probably really smart to have like upside down biomes because it's a very alien-like environment that's very different, and having it upside down, goodness, these lights would fit, I think. And mycelium because there's gonna be mushrooms and they're gonna glow, because that fits with all the glow that happens in the end here for some reason. Oh, the color change. And biome number 3 is gonna be the hovering woods, and that is basically gonna be floating trees, because we all hate people leaving floating trees, but now we're gonna make it intentional. Let's go. So the idea is basically to have floating islands on different heights, because this is all kind of on the same height here and that doesn't make sense. But it would be really cool if they were actually on different heights. Another thing is I like this shape here, like having a little drippy. So I will make them a bit drippy droopy. So they will be low. There could be like some ores on the floor, obviously, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna basically just build like biome ideas. And then to make these more droopy and drippy, we can use some endstone walls, because luckily actually there is endstone walls in this game. I'm surprised myself, like I was thinking of the idea of making this video, right, and I was like, there are no endstone walls, right? I have to use sandstone. No Josie, you don't. There is endstone walls. Did you guys ever use endstone walls before? Because I have never used. So the idea is basically that the islands will look more like this, but let me just make like a big terrain of these, and then we're gonna work on the first biome. And that is the terrain I've built for the end islands we're gonna make. So the plan is to have 3 different biomes, and now we're gonna start with the first one, and the first one is gonna be fully black. So I'm gonna fill the whole islands with blackstone. Voila, half of the islands are black and half of them are endstone, which that's for a good reason, because we're gonna build 3 biomes and 1 biome is black, the other one is endstone, and the other one doesn't have any terrain at all, because it's floating trees. So the first one, okay, let's continue with this one, with the black one, okay, because that was basically something I saw in my dreams. So I'm trying to recreate what I saw in my dreams, okay. I think we should start with making rivers, because the thing is, in my dream there was this brightly glowing cyan river, and we could do it in 2 different ways. We could either do it with frog lights and glass and like deep layers, but that would mean we have to go even deeper. We could also make him with water, because if we use water, I would have to adjust the biome as well, because if I do a special command, the fill biome, warm ocean, then as you can see, the water color changes to a light blue, which I do love that. So that's the lakes with the glowing blocks. Now to transition over from the glowing to the blackstone, I thought I'm going with prismarine bricks and then cut copper, because it's a little darker, and then over to dark prismarine, because then we have this little gradient. I think that makes it look more like it's shiny and it's not like just cut off. And now I'm just filling it all in with water, and I already changed the biome everywhere, so it's this luscious blue, wonderful color. I love this color so much, it's so pretty. And that's what it looks like. And if we look from above, these are the rivers. I love that. It looks just like in my dreams. So now that's not all for the biome. I mean, yeah, it's basically water and blackstone and that's it. But there's one more thing, and that's crystals. Yes, this place is full of crystals. So I just want to design some. They are quite big-ish. I think. I don't know. I don't 100% remember my dreams, you know? But I know actually the lake size is quite accurate. In the dream, I was on a boat and basically I was on my phone and my phone fell in the water. I was really concerned, and then I dived down into the water and grabbed my phone, and I was just hoping that it was fine. This actually looks funny, like, oh my god, look, this is like the other way around. Like, no, it's like, it's crazy. Looks crazy. Yeah, but my phone was, I don't know if it was fine in my dream, but I woke up and I noticed that my phone was still good because I was just dreaming, so everything's fine. But yeah, basically there is emeralds. No, that's not an emerald. This is just a crystal. But yeah, these crystals here that I want to make, they're basically gonna look like this, and then we're surrounding them with glass. I'm starting with lime glass. So note that I don't want them to look lime. I want them to look like the watercolor, cyan, but lime really helps to make like a really bright color. And then if I put like cyan glass and light blue in front of it, you know, this like gets more of that color. Unfortunately though, I wish the light blue glass was more vibrant like this. Unfortunately it isn't, but that's why I'm using the lime glass. I hope it helps a little bit. Also, I can use the cyan as well. I think I'm gonna make a bit of a gradient with that. So this is the first layer, very fancy, and then we're gonna put another layer on top. And I think that way it will look very crystal-like because it's layered glass. I hope it will look good at least. And that's what it looks like. Is that cool? Is that good? I think so. I would like to boost up the saturation a bit, but I think it's fine. But yeah, I'm gonna show you guys just like the purple version as well, because I also want to make a purple version, and that one is probably gonna be easier to achieve. So I'm just gonna make blue at the bottom. If I do the layering here, I might as well do the layering here as well, you know? Then I can cover it in purple at the bottom. And, you know, for texturing, for gradient, we're adding some magenta at the top. Well, that's much more vibrant. It also looks kind of like weird because it has like just a few frog lights. So maybe this has to be a bit thicker. So let me do the others real quick. Ooh, and this looks just like in my dream. I love this. And ooh, the lighting, yes, that just adds a lot actually, because in my dream the sky was more like galaxy kind of themed. But okay, now that we have these crystals down, I want to decorate with like amethysts and wobbed stuff, because that way we can make it look like there's some smaller crystals. So I'm basically splattering around some random little amethysts in the different sizes, and then I'm gonna put some diamond ore into the floor. Yeah, we can pretend this is like the same as the crystals, like there's just little versions. And I think there must be like a ore in the game that's very special for like specific armor. But I'm talking about that later, because for these other two biomes you will actually need that specific armor that I had the idea for. But these things here are basically functioning as like amethysts, but I would say they're bioluminescent, so you can place them as a light block. That's what like I think the game mechanic from these would be. Like a light source and like a decorative block, like amethyst. But not that like much of a resource you need to gather, because there is basically a bunch. But yeah, so the idea is here, like how do I include the wob roots and nether sprouts? I'll place down some diamond or like something, and then I replace it with nether sprouts in world edit, because that's the easiest way for me to do it. I think there is probably also a way to make it work with Axiom probably, but you know, I'm just doing it that way. There might actually be a vanilla way without the mods, but I don't know. But something you know for sure, that if you download this map, these things will still stay. So this is not modded. It's just modded to place it down, but it's not modded, you know? And we are done with the crystal rivers, and I think they look absolutely stunning. It literally looks like it's sparkling with these tiny versions, and it's definitely a vibe. I mean, look at this. I love it. So now let's work on our next biome, which is gonna be the mirrored mycelium. And as the name implies, it's mirrored, so it's upside down on the bottom of the island. And it's mycelium, which means it's mushrooms. Fun, guys. So to get started with it, I will use all of these islands here. You might wonder, there is gonna be a third biome. Yes, I know. And the third biome doesn't need any terrain. So for these ones here, I want to make the mycelium first, which is gonna be on the top. It's kind of like functioning as grass. There's gonna be like spores popping out, but mainly it's gonna be a little layer layer that's covering the whole floor here. And I think we should pick a color palette for that. I mean, we see this here. This is like purple and black. And maybe we should go with the opposite. Maybe we should also go with something that fits to the end vibe, because the end vibe is the yellowish stone and purple. But maybe we want to make it pop out, because for the last time I was also thinking in a purple direction. So I was thinking we are gonna go with the yellow, and then we use the aspect of the pink. Okay, I'm using glass right now. It's not gonna be glass for showing purposes because these are gonna be like the colors of the mushrooms, I would say. Yellow and pink with like orange as a gradient. And the mycelium is gonna be either yellow or pink or orange, something that would work well with this. Because the idea why I want it to be pink is that this like gets kind of like a pinkish hue when these lights are appearing. So we have wood, we have coral blocks, so we have these kind of options. Oh yeah, the coral dyes. So these are our pink options. I feel like they match more. But this is too much. I don't know, are we gonna go with pink? Let's go with pink mycelium. Why not? Let's replace everything here with pink, and I will make some spots that are wool and some bigger parts that are concrete, because that's like variation. Okay, now all of these are pink, and you can see I added a gradient to them to make it go smoother into the end stone. I used some cherry planks to like transition into the end stone, and then some sandstone, because sandstone and end stone rhymes, and it's very, you know, close when it comes to the color, but it's definitely a bit more in the red direction. So yeah, that's why I used that, and I think the gradient is mwah. Now I want to add some details to the top here. Some grass and some, you know, plant life, because the mycelium wouldn't just be flat. So I was thinking I can add corals, but they would decay usually. But since I do have Axiom, it's the first time I'm trying out this mod, there is a feature where I can basically freeze the block, and it prevents triggering neighbor updates when placing and breaking. So basically this doesn't decay anymore. I think this also still won't decay in the world download. And then also there is the cactus flowers that we can always place everywhere, which they are really cool. And then to have some more three-dimensional things, maybe like stuff like that, or stuff like this. We could have some lifted up flowers, and I'm not sure about candles. They look a little dark, but they could also add something. So I'm not really sure about the glass and the plants. I think I might use it with the flowers. That gives me more of the end chorus fruit vibes. And maybe like there are some that haven't been grown yet, and you know, the higher they grow, the more they look like that. I think it would be really cool if we had the corals on the wool and these on mostly on the concrete, but like this is okay. We don't need to be super precise with it. So now this looks like a very Candyland magic fairy corp. It looks very pink and very Candyland and very pink. Did it say very pink? So now that we've done this, I would suggest we add some mushrooms to the bottom of these things. It's mirrored mycelium, so that the mushrooms grow from the bottom. And if you wonder how you're gonna harvest these without the drops falling into the void, keep watching, because in the last time I'll tell you what I was thinking of. For the design of the mushrooms, I was thinking you could have the stem made of glowing materials, because usually, you know, the heart of the mushroom is glowing, but we're gonna make it different. So now the mushroom cap is gonna start here, but it's gonna start with yellow and then transition into orange. And as the last layer, pink. And that is what they look like. It looks really, really funny how they hang from the bottom of these islands. But I think this is just a very fun way of making an end biome, because end is like strange and weird in a different world. And this is definitely strange and weird in a different world. And now I want to explain the mechanic of these guys, okay? Because you see at the top there's this mycelium, and you wonder, why do we need the mycelium? Just to look pretty? No, we actually need them, because the plants on top here, they're just like in the nether when you bone meal the floor, they come plants. But if you want to get these mushrooms, you also need to bone meal the mycelium. But the mushrooms won't spawn on top here, they will spawn on the next block that is underneath. So if I bone meal basically this area here, a sapling will come out here, and let me just build one. They're gonna look kind of like this, and if you want these saplings to grow up, you have to bone meal them as well. Obviously farming these trees, not trees, mushrooms, is gonna be quite hard, because they will fall in the void, or they will fall on another island, which That's probably the best outcome. And if you don't want them to fall in the void, you would probably need some kind of armor that makes the items fly up to you. Like, you know, I don't know if you ever played Exit, but more on that on the next biome. So let me just place down some saplings and then we can move on to the next biome. And won't you look at that? The mirrored mycelium is done. I mean, look at this. This is just out of this world, right? And now there's one last biome that we want to do, and that one doesn't need any terrain, as I already mentioned a couple times. The floating trees. So you might wonder, why floating trees? The thing is that like leaving floating trees in Minecraft is kind of like a no-go. Nobody wants you to leave floating trees. So I thought it would be funny to leave floating trees here. But let's make them intentional. So to do that, we're gonna have to make them look like they are supposed to be floating, because their roots are basically in the air and they're taking their nutrients that they need from the air. I feel like these things, like these end storms, charge the mushrooms. That's how they glow, and they also charge the crystals. I feel like that would be a fun lore, that they like constantly charge these glowing things. But okay, let's move on to the actual thing, which is the floating trees. Then we can talk about how to mine them. I was thinking blackstone for the stem. For these, I was thinking to make them go very high up, you know, the branches. The bare minimum is 4 branches, but I think a few more would make it look more complete. Like that. That looks kind of like a tree. And now the floatiness, the roots. That could be cool. So now for the leaves, I was thinking glass again. I once had an idea for entries, to be fair, and it was with purple and magenta, being a bit more floaty so they don't look that weird, you know. Putting them around the branches like this, around the ranges. That sounded so American, but I'm not. So to those people who don't know where I'm from, where do you think I'm from? And this is the tree. I don't know if I'll keep it that way. I know you don't see much of the stem. Well, now you do. Yeah, now it's glowing. So for the stem here, I was thinking, I mean, I haven't used enough glass yet, obviously. So I had the glorious idea to make the roots with the glass down here and slowly make them become lighter, because I want to make it look like as if they are absorbing something from the floor. So that's why they're getting lighter. I might have to split them up a little bit. I also kind of want to incorporate some light. Maybe I'll put it at the bottom so they're actually like taking light. And maybe to help the transition, we can put like one white one and then the thingy, so it's a bit smoother. But yeah, that could work, right? But I'm not sure about the black one here. The black one just is invisible. And you might think now, how are we gonna harvest these trees if they're floating in the air? No way I'm gonna collect these blocks. They're just gonna fall into the void. Yes, you got it correct. And that's why you should either get the saplings and plant it in the overworld, or get a specific type of armor to harvest these in the end. Because in the floor, there would be like a new type of ore. That's what I was thinking of. And this type of ore would give you a specific new armor that has new abilities. And these are very helpful for living in the end. There could be like different abilities that do different stuff. Not just the one thing for the tree, but the one thing for the tree that I'm thinking of is that there could be a magnetic enchantment. And if you have that, you'll basically attract all the items that fall down to you and they will come to you. I didn't come up with this myself. That is a feature that was in Hexit. I don't know if anyone played Hexit. Now the leaves though, I'm not really happy with the leaves. Maybe we could place some of these underneath. Oh yeah, that looks much cooler already. Okay, I have an idea, okay. We had these, and these. So the leaves absorb something from the air and the roots too. I think that could be really fancy. Or should we face them upwards? I don't know. Does that make sense? Actually, that looks quite cool. And there we are. Look how it sparkles when you're moving around. Isn't that cool? I made a bunch of different variants. I decided for the light going up like this. The leaves are basically getting the energy from the thingies. if they're from above, you know, like comes from above, and the roots are getting energy if it comes from below. Realistically, I think since they can come from every direction, the tree would kind of be built up in a different way. I feel like they look a bit like jellyfish, and in the sense of what they are, I think they probably are kind of like jellyfish. And I think it would actually really fit very well if the trees would move around like jellyfish. Maybe that makes it harder to mine them, but something like that could be cool. That's basically all the biomes. That is what I wish Minecraft would add personally, but I mean, I'm always excited for new things and things that I couldn't even think of. And if you have your own ideas how you think an end biome should look like, just tell me about it or build it and share it on my Discord, because I would love to see your own creations. And if you want to get this world download and maybe build something fancy in that, maybe add to it or build like end structures, feel free. The world download will be on my Patreon for only €5 a month. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, consider subscribing and check out my other videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.